You know, every day, every hour of our show, the man with the golden voice, our friend Doc Morgan, calls me the happy conservative warrior. It's hard to go to the White House and not understand what that kind of happiness feels like. I've never seen Seb Gorka as giddy as he was yesterday, and he's got a very serious, important role in the Trump administration, rooting out and weeding out terrorists. Seb, of course, playing a key role in counterterrorism. We're going to talk to Seb today. We're going to talk to Caroline Leavitt today. We're going to talk to Scott Bessent, the new Treasury Secretary, today. We're going to talk to Veterans Affairs Secretary Doug Collins today. We're going to talk to May Mailman today. She has been a key attorney fighting for Donald Trump and specializes in protecting the rights of women. All of those conversations took place yesterday at our Media Row event at the White House. And today we'll play back some of those interviews for you. And everybody is just so determined, and there was, I don't want to say, the giddiness is the wrong word, but a kind of a happy resolve. The people at the White House, when you walk in there and you walk into that huge, expansive space of 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, you go over to the executive office building, and you go, which is where most of the donuts are made. That's where most of the hamburger is ground. The heavy lift is in the executive office building. The White House, the West Wing, is largely ceremonial. There, of course, that's the president and the chief of staff and all the key players there, but the real heavy lifting goes on in what has been known as the Eisenhower Executive Office Building. And that's where we were yesterday, in the Indian Treaty Room. I don't know how they are allowed to call it that, but that's fine with me. You would think that Biden would have stopped that by now, or even Bill Clinton, but nope, it's the Indian Treaty Room on the 4th floor of the Executive Office Building, a beautiful, ornate room, and that's where we interviewed some key members of the Trump administration yesterday. And it is a happy resolve. They are thrilled to go to work. They're excited about what's getting done at a breathtaking pace. Axios does a big piece this morning about Trump's historic, epic, mega MAGA, they call it. Both groups can agree, whether you are a loyal supporter of Donald Trump or whether you're one of his fiercest detractors. Everyone can agree the America that Biden left behind is no longer recognizable, erased in 4 frenetic weeks by an empowered and historically popular MAGA presidency. Like Trump 1.0, the fire hose of news and norm-busting behavior is the defining feature of the Trump administration. But unlike Trump 1.0, this time, as Axios puts it, the chaos is calculated and explicitly designed to institutionalize MAGA, paralyze the president's enemies, and permanently break the Washington establishment. Now, you either like that or you don't. This week, Elon Musk and Donald Trump sat down with Sean Hannity on Fox. They talked about Musk's role. They talked about the president's beliefs and feelings, the whole MAGA agenda. And I would submit to you there is a litmus test, and I'm going to give you one right now. Let me kick things off and give you one to start the hour. Trump is floating the idea of a DOGE dividend, $5,000 in the pocket of every American from the trillions of dollars of waste that DOGE is finding. Here's what he said while speaking at this big conference yesterday.
There's even under consideration a new concept where we give 20% of the DOGE savings to American citizens and 20% goes to paying down debt, because the numbers are incredible, Elon. So many billions of dollars, billions, hundreds of billions, and we're thinking about giving 20% back to the American citizens and 20% down to pay back debt and pay down debt.
instead of a chunk of it going to pay down the debt, 40%, half of that would go to the American people, and it comes to apparently about $5,000 a person. You know what would $5,000 mean to you right now? If you got a check from the government today for $5,000, what does that look like to you? Now, here's the litmus test. Establishment Republicans hate this. Trump detractors think it's a terrible idea. Trump critics think he's just trying to play games. He's trying to win over votes. When what he's actually doing is fulfilling the campaign promise of making America great again by helping Americans one step at a time. What in the world is wrong with that? What in the world, how do you really object to that? Well, you know, the establishment tells us that the real process should involve paying down the national debt, and that's something that's all on paper. You know, let's face it, we got a printing press of money. And ultimately, what truly matters is every American having their quality of life improved. How many bills could you pay off? Does $5,000 that's unexpected let you get ahead? And so this is the breakdown. Here's the warring factions on our side. And look, not everybody agrees. We're not all in lockstep. We never have been. I get it. There are people who don't love Trump style. There are people who are a little worried about MAGA. I get it. It's all right. But let me put the test to you right now. Are you on board with a $5,000 DOGE dividend or not? You think it's a good idea or not? 800-655-MIKE. If so, why? If not, why not? Do you really think that all of the DOGE surplus, everything they're discovering, should be dedicated to paying down the debt? Or do you love the idea of a $5,000 dividend per person? We're in the Relief Factor studios. Welcome aboard. It is a Thursday, back from Washington, D.C. Got a little cold, I think. I got a little head cold. I blame Tracy for submitting my name Mike instead of Michael. And the Secret Service said, no can do, Mr. Gallagher. You don't enter the White House. Your driver's license says Michael. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Well, that's all right. Live and learn. We won't make that mistake again, right? Tons of just text messages pouring in saying, absolutely, I'm giddy about my $5,000. Thank you, President Trump. Thank you, Elon. Thank you, DOGE. That's Arizona. Nebraska will surely help us folks. How cold is it in Nebraska right now? How about South Dakota? Here's a text from South Dakota. How bad is it right now? How wintry is your weather? I read 30 below, 20 below. South Dakota asks, when you couldn't get into the White House yesterday, why didn't you just call Gorka? Well, I could have called Dr. G, but it doesn't matter. The Secret Service has to approve you entering. And Tracy filled out the form and put Mike Gallagher. And you've got to match. Of course, it has to match your government ID. My government ID says Michael Gallagher. And the young man at the Secret Service desk at the east gate of the White House said, "Oh, sorry, sir." It's like going to Wally World. Sorry, sir, park's closed. Moose should have told you. The Moose should have told Tracy to put Michael on the form. And somebody should have told Michael to make sure I looked at the form before Tracy sent it to the White House. So it was only an hour because they got to resubmit the whole process. They had to start over, and they wouldn't let us wait in the booth because, of course, it is the White House. So Jeff Harbaugh, who had been Seb's producer, incidentally, and just was great. He pitched in and helped us yesterday and was my sort of field producer as he's on the beach getting ready for his next gig because Seb, of course, took the job in the White House. Jeff and I were shivering out on Pennsylvania Avenue just waiting for them to reapprove. They had to resubmit the whole process, and it was not fun. I was not happy. But look, once I got in, we were fine. All right, let's dive in. 800-655-MIKE. Do you think the idea of a DOGE dividend is a good idea or a bad one? We'll start in Phoenix. Kyle is standing by. It's not 20 below in Phoenix, Arizona, I'll bet, huh?
Not at all, Mike. Not only am I in favor of it, but it'd be an answer to prayer. My wife and I are both teachers. We have 4 kids. We've been saving up 2 years for a new AC unit, plugging away, and this would cover it all, and it would be an answer to prayer.
It's a game changer.
And it's not coming from...
It's a game changer,
ahead,
Kyle. It's a total game changer for millions of Americans. And I mean, this is the stuff where policy wonks get all bogged down and they say, well, I don't know. It's probably a better idea. Look at you. Look at you and your wife. Look at how it changes your world.
Well, I feel morally good about it, too, in that it's not a stimulus where it's just going into debt. It's taking what we would already be spending and giving it to me, and it would be an answer to prayer, and the Lord answers it in unique ways. And
amen. Amen. Good for you. I agree with you, Kyle. One open line, 800-655-Mike. I was thinking about how many people have been saying with DOGE uncovering the billions and billions and billions of dollars. And incidentally, you see how Democrats respond to this? Even Harold Ford, the mild-mannered Democrat on the 5 yesterday, well, $55 billion, that's not that much. That's really not that much. That's how they think. Democrats think a $9 congestion fee isn't that big a deal to hardworking New Yorkers who have to drive into Manhattan. Their thought process is goofy, and it's our money. And so I've been thinking about how people have been saying with all this waste and corruption that DOGE is uncovering, I want my money back. I want a refund. I want, if you don't like the service or the product you get a refund, right? Well, this is what that would be. This is an absolute opportunity for people to say, like Kyle, I get to get that air conditioning system that I wanted in my house. I get to pay off some bills. I get to put money into a college fund for my kids. I get to get ahead. Trump is fulfilling his promise to make Americans' lives better. James in Kentucky. James, welcome back. How are you?
Good. Man, it's great to talk to you.
Well, thank you, James. Good to talk to you as well. Appreciate it.
I really think that the stimulus, just like the guy said earlier, give it back to the people, let them stimulate the economy.
Exactly.
And he didn't have to increase the debt to do it. He's putting money towards the debt, so we see that helping.
Exactly.
And then he's allowing the people to do what they want to, what they think's best with the money. I'm looking at putting a new roof on my house. I'm going to stimulate the economy.
That's right. Because then you're going to hire workers. You're going to have a company do the work. You're going to stimulate the economy in your part of Kentucky.
Exactly.
I mean, of course, it's brilliant. It's a brilliant idea, James. It's just, and it frustrates me that this is the establishment refusing to let go of the way things are always done. They can't accept this premise, can they?
Exactly.
Yeah, good to hear from you, James.
It's our money.
It's our money. Thank you, James. Good to hear from you. One open line, 800-655-Mike.
For full shows, live and on demand, it's Salem News Channel.